Good evening, good evening. It is another Tuesday night, 6:30 our time, our regular starting time for class. And I'll wait a couple minutes to see who checks in. In fact, I think that while we're waiting, I'll do a couple of things. I am starting, yes, I'm actually starting on the floor this time. How are you? Are you good? All right. We're deeper into the month of May, and I figure maybe by June 1st, we can get back into the studio and back into some kind of semblance of, or resemblance of life as we now will be getting used to it. So, namaste. Thank you for joining me. Sitting on a bolster, and my legs are extended out in front of me, and I'm bringing my toes back towards my shins right now. I'm reaching up with the crown of my head, reaching it higher and higher, closer and closer to the ceiling. And now I'm pointing my toes away from me. Hopefully you're doing the same. I've got a chair here because we're going to do a flow here in a little bit. Point our toes, flex our toes back towards our shins by pushing out through our heels, warming up the hamstrings. Point the toes away from us. And just keep doing that with me. We've got a flow that we don't do very often in class, just a vinyasa where we connect a bunch of poses. And probably you've done them before. If you've been in any of my classes, you've done them all before. This is actually from Brother Erich Schiffman's book, Moving into Stillness, which is just a wonderful book, especially for you men, but also for the women who are on a path, a journey to discover what their yoga is. This is his standing pose flow. And like I say, I hope you'll get a chair. And if you have a strap or a belt or a men's tie or some rope, don't know why you'd have rope laying around, but who knows in these days and times. But regardless, we're now turning our ankles and rotating our feet in one direction and then the other direction. It doesn't matter what direction you're going. And taking our toes out, bringing our heels together. Don't know if you can see that or not. Now our toes come together and our heels go out. And you can really feel this in the hips here. And still being conscious of maintaining a vertical and tall as possible stature here. Bring your heels together, take your toes out. We're actually rotating the hips out, rotating the legs out in the hip joints is what we're doing. So we're externally rotating when our toes are out, and when we bring our toes together and our heels are out, we're internally rotating our femurs. Okay, all right, I'll bring it back to normal. But right now, pick up your left leg. So this is left, this is right. Then this is more for my orientation than it is for yours because I'm mirroring you. So take your left foot and just bring it back here, bend that knee real nice if you can do that. And you need to really be listening to how those body parts will be talking to you throughout this class and throughout every moment, 24 hours a day. I know I woke up last night at some point during the evening trying to push that knee down towards the mat. Okay, no, that's not what I was going to tell you, but we're in the process of this to try to take that knee down, and this also helps to open that hip up and create some movement to move that synovial fluid. So I woke up during the night and my ear was really hurting. I had a real buzz in my ear. I don't know what that was about. My ear's fine today, but I'm paying attention to it, and I hope you will too. You could also extend that right leg out and make it nice and flat. Now see, this feels pretty good. Now, if we reverse this and brought that left foot up on top of that right leg, this is sort of a pigeon pose, but you don't really get into the pigeon pose until you start bringing that right foot back and you start to feel it here in your hip, and you flex the toes on that top foot. And you can extend that leg out, bounce it around a little bit, and take your right foot and take it underneath the left. So I have quite a few, I'd say probably a half a dozen or so videos that we have filmed here at home during this stay-at-home time. And I know some people are getting out now because it is May, I think today is May 12th, if I'm not mistaken. Some people are getting out, and that's their choice, but I'm choosing to stay at home as much as I possibly can. I do go to the grocery store. Sometimes I go to the Home Depot or Lowe's type stores. I'm trying to do as much shopping online, probably more than I normally do. But when I do go out, I wear a mask and I wear gloves on my hands. When I'm putting in my PIN code or pressing credit or debit at the grocery store, someone else's fingers have been on that too. And, we don't know where they've had those fingers, that kind of thing. So I know some people are getting out, they're playing pickleball, they're having Mother's Day get-togethers, and that's a personal choice. Let's bring that leg up on top now. I'm just not down with that yet. I'm not convinced that we're clear for takeoff. I think probably around the 1st of June is going to say a lot, because places have opened up and any new infections would show up within about 2 weeks. So we'll see. But I'm glad you're here. We're going to keep doing these Zoom classes as long as possible, may even continue them after this pandemic is cleared up, whenever that might be. So we're getting some good warm up here. We're going to extend that leg out now. And out my windows here on both sides, just as I was waiting for class to start, I'm coming down flat to the mat. I was looking outside and I see a new squirrel. He's a little itty bitty squirrel, and he's just rooting through the grass. He was looking for something. I think he probably found it, because he was sitting out there upright, just kind of nibbling on it. And there was a small chipmunk out there, and a big bunny rabbit down by the, I believe it's a maple tree. We found 3 bunnies in a hole in our garden spot. Our garden spot has electric wire all around it to keep the deer out. I've got my milkweeds growing. They're looking good. Maybe they'll bloom this year, and hopefully we'll get some monarchs to stop by on their way to north or south, either way. We're pulling our knees in towards our chest, and we're just holding it here, okay? And we've got some new birds to identify coming to our feeder. We had a little, we think it's an indigo, I think it's a bunting. Extend your left leg straight out. Don't touch the floor, but try to have that leg as straight as possible. You're holding your right close to your body and relaxing your head, because that really gets the neck after a while. And now we're going to reverse the legs. You can use your hands or not. You might use them to pull that knee closer to the shoulders. We also had a yellow small bird. I think it's probably a yellow finch. And we had a white-breasted sparrow that has a beautiful black stripe from front to back on the top of his head and yellow on both sides on his head. Really a beautiful little bird. And you know what? It has taken this pandemic to make me slow down anyway, and sit back and enjoy watching the birds and watching the bees. And thank God we don't have any murder hornets yet. Hopefully we won't. So just keep going back and forth, and you might hear a little bit of crunching in the knees. I know I am. But we're warming the knees up. That's the big deal. You might pick up the speed a little bit, and you might really concentrate on bringing your navel down towards your spine, which will bring the small part of your back down closer to the mat. So you're kind of lifting your tail up. Yes, we're riding the bicycle. That's right. But we won't do the thing with our arms this time because we want to keep moving here. Okay, we can bring them down. Hopefully that was a good little bit of work for you. Come to all four now. Still haven't figured out if it's all four or fours, but we'll call it all fours. All right, let's get our dogs and our cats in line to get some flexion and extension of the spine, get some movement there, get some waving of the spine going. It's nice if you can do it with your breath, because then it's nice and slow and you can really concentrate on getting the extension or the flexion that you want. And let's finish this cat, and find your natural flowing breath, an intentional breath that you can follow, and let that be your guide to your movement. So when we're flexing in the natural direction that our body would take, we should be exhaling most of the time. And when we're extending or going against the natural movement of a body part, like the spine right now, I'm in a back bend, I should be inhaling. All right, so I'm coming to a neutral spine, and I'm going to stick my left hand, my left arm out with the palm facing to the right. I'm sticking my left leg out, and it's about hitting the chair. I forgot about the chair. And we're just holding that there. We're not going to take them to the side, but you could if you wanted to take your arm over to the left and your leg over to the right. You could do that. I don't really have the room right now where I am. And bring it back. And now your right arm is going out front, straight out, extending those fingertips way out in front of you. Palm is facing to the left. And your left leg is going out. Toes could be pointed or they could be flexed. Either way, just extend that leg out and extend all the way across the body, across the diagonals. Okay, very good. Very good. Okay, come to your knees, and if you need a blanket under your knees, by all means use that. We're going to take let's start with our left knee and take that over here. I'm sorry, my head's kind of cut off here. Well, it's not my head you're watching anyway. Okay, so we're coming to lizard pose, and you can see that my knee is behind the ankle, and that's good. And if we want, we could move this right knee back a little bit, and the top of the foot is down in the back. Or you could try it with the toes up, see which feels more balanced to you. Both hands are on that front knee, and you want to kind of bring your pelvis forward. You see that movement forward? And still, my knee is not going over my ankle, and I'm really starting to feel these quads on the opposite side of the front leg. Now you could add to this if you want to pick that knee up and maybe try to grab it. It's a real balancing act. You can keep trying it. Maybe someday you'll get there. I don't have quite enough padding under my knees to do this. I do have sensitive knees. And we're going to bring the front foot back somehow or another. Then we're going to take the right foot forward. And it could be kind of a lizard pose if our foot was a little further forward and the toes were out. Right now, my front foot is kind of straddling the long edge of the mat, but way up in the corner. So adjust this to where it feels good to you, because this is supposed to be comfortable, okay? So we might want to bring our hips a little forward. The knee is still not above, but it's behind that front ankle. Hands on that front knee. Feeling a balance challenge. And if you want, you could try to bring that back foot up, find a balance point. And, you know, if you had a strap around that, you could maybe grab it with a strap and bring it back. And bring that front foot back, both knees, and come up to standing, and I'll readjust my camera view. Okay, that should be good. You may not be able to see all that I'm doing here. I'm going to go to full screen and see. Still don't think that's going to make a difference either. The camera's just not tall enough. I think, in fact, I was having this laptop a little further back. And all right. So this would be a little bit better. All right, so this is Erich Schiffman's standing pose flow. We started mountain pose. Mountain pose is feet shoulder width apart, toes slightly in, so the sides of your feet are pretty much parallel to the long sides of your mat. I will be turning at one point. I keep looking at my feet, trying to be conscious of them, trying to be conscious of my whole body, head over my ears, etc., when I'm standing. So take a nice deep breath here. They're free. Take another one. All right, you ready? Lift up your right arm and extend your left down and look down towards the center of your mat. Bring your hands back to your waist and turn your left foot out and take it out a step, and take your right foot back and turn it on just a slight, maybe 15, 20 degree angle. That front leg, the knee is bent. Did you notice? Okay, watch closely now and line up with the vertical lines behind me here. Watch my body. I'm going to try to go down in Warrior Two. We want to come down. I actually lean back a little bit. Some people, when they come to Warrior Two, they do this. Don't lean that way. Come straight down, arms out, back leg nice and strong, nice and straight. Try to get your arms nice and parallel to the floor. Look over to your left hand and gaze over that middle finger. Drop the shoulders down. Wipe the smirk off your face. I mean, relax the muscles in your face. And now look back to your right hand and see if that hand is and arm are where they're supposed to be. Okay, Warrior Two. Now we're going to straighten the legs and we're going to let our right hip go out. I kind of exaggerated it there. And then we're going to reach down. We don't have to go deep in triangle. I have basically bent over, taken the top of my left hand and placed it just a little bit below my knee. And sometimes my shoulder limits this arm going up. So you might want to put your hand on your hip or even behind you. Watch that top shoulder. I don't know if it'll pick up on the camera, but take that shoulder back and then bring your arm up and look at what a difference that makes because you brought that shoulder back. And the arm goes up, and basically between the fingers of the top hand and the fingers of the bottom hand, you form somewhat of a straight vertical line. That's as close as I'm getting today. All right. So what we want to do next, and I should have had my chair over on this side, but what we're going to do here, I'm going to go ahead and do this half moon without a block. So we're going to be in straight legs. We're going to turn our body over to the left, and we're going to reach forward, and we're going to come a little further forward. We're going to pick up that back leg. We're going to get balanced real well, real strong, and we're going to come to our best half moon. Okay? I am using a little assist here. This is a very strong pose. And when we come out of this pose, we're just going to come back down, place our left arm on our thigh on the same side, bring our arm forward. And actually, this is a straight line from the top of the fingers down through that back leg. Some people like to come over here, and that's fine too. But this is quite all right. This is really given a nice straight line, and the front knee is bent on extended side angle. And that makes it really convenient to turn our hips forward, keep adjusting your feet to where they feel good. You got warrior one. Both your hip joints are pointing forward, and they're both equal distant from the front of your mat. Now, ideally, we want to hold each of these poses in this flow 30 minutes. Oh, I mean 30 seconds. There is a difference. I knew that. Now we're going to straighten the front leg, and we're going to reach out with the crown, extend that spine, and come down with either our hands touching our legs or blocks, or maybe even a chair if that feels good, or your arms could be behind you. They could be just resting. They could be up. They could be doing a number of things. And then, pardon me turning my back to you, I'm going to take my right hand and the top of the right hand, place it on the outside of that front leg, and bring my arm up and revolve my triangle. Maintaining our balance with our breath and our strength and our balance. Oh, I already said that too, didn't I? Our patience. We're doing this with a smile on our face. And then we're coming back, we're turning around, and we're coming out and doing a wide angle down dog. So that is really, our legs are wide, and we're walking ourselves out far. And you can either do a wide angle downward dog or any other pose that just feels really good, really wide. Okay, now we're going to walk back towards the center, walk our hands and our feet towards each other. We're going to walk our hands halfway up and do a nice Ardha Uttanasana, a half forward bend, in a way that if someone wanted to put a cup of tea on our spine, that it probably would not spill. No promises, but there's a possibility there. And then bring your hands, walk them up your leg, come to standing. And now we're going to turn, And we're going to do this on the other side, okay? So we can go ahead, I'll face you. Tell you what, I'll go ahead and start this way. And we're going to start with mountain pose. Catch another couple of cleansing breaths, we call them. They're calming breaths, nice and tall, nice and straight. So we're going to work our way back through this mess here, through these poses here. And we are going to walk forward. We're going to have our right leg forward, right foot forward, toes pointing way ahead of us, and our back foot turned slightly. And we're going to go back to revolving our triangle. Remember that one? Okay. Left hand on the outside of the front leg. We're revolving triangle, so these are straight legs. And if we want, raise that arm up or stick it in the back pocket. That does not exist necessarily there. Then we come up into warrior one. An extended side angle. Try to bring that upper shoulder up so your shoulder to shoulder distance is vertical. If you want to challenge your balance, look at your upper hand. Okay, we're going to come forward from here into our half moon, and now I'm going to have my chair to assist me. So this is going to hopefully make it a little bit easier. And after half moon, we will come down. Let's give this some time, make this a really nice pose. There we go. And your standing leg is firm. Your flying leg, as I call it, the toes are flexed, pointing towards the shins. Shake it a little bit because those muscles are firing. And you can see from the top of my upper hand to my bottom arm, I'm fairly vertical. And if you're in this pose and you feel like your head is not where it should be, look down to the floor and look up. We're going to come to triangle now. So just come back, straight legs. Take your hips out to the left. Hand here on the inside, reaching up, getting a little warmer for sure. For sure. And warrior two. Feel that. Look in your screen. Watch yourself do warrior two sometime. You know, we've talked about putting mirrors in studio mills, and then we decided against it for a number of reasons. But I think it's good to see what we look like in our own poses, because we could learn so much. You know, like I'm learning, I could probably lose some of this, but there are things I have to do to lose that. So that's my stuff. All right, warrior two. Now, if you remember at this point, let's see if we can just move that back foot towards the front foot, come to mountain pose. And now we're going to take our left arm up and our right arm down. Left arm up, right arm down. We're looking down. So this is the opposite of what we did before. In any kind of salutation, I think you normally go halfway through the clock and go back through it on the other side of the clock, if you know what I mean. You can imagine a salutation or vinyasa in a circular diagram. Okay, we got about 10 minutes more of this class. And what I would really like to do is go through this flow again. So bring your hands together at your heart center. And I think my feet are warmed up. Floor's kind of cold here down in the extreme downstairs. But I'm going to take my socks off, and I definitely do get better adhesion, better traction, right? Okay. So let's go through this. Right arm up, left arm down, looking down. We're this time going to go to the right. Hands on the hips. Take your right foot out, and then your left foot out. You come to warrior two. Okay, warrior two. Come to triangle. Nice straight legs, front and back. See, it's a little easier this time, isn't it? Because we're a little warmed up, a little more. Now we're going to come to half moon. Make sure it's not sliding. There's your half moon. Move your feet any way you need to move them to feel safe and able to get up into a nice half moon pose. That flying leg could get to be close to parallel to the floor. I'll bet you're doing the best you can do on these poses, and that's all we ask for. Now we're going to come back and just very easily come back into extended side angle, whether your arm comes from down below, out here without hitting anybody, or up above, extended side angle. We're going to turn, we're going to get warrior one. Arms as straight as you can get them. And come forward on that front leg, which is now straight, whether your arms, your torso's turned just a little bit to head towards that small toe, that baby toe, that pinky toe. Bring your arms down or bring them to the back. And bend the knee if you need to come up and turn both your feet forward. You've got a real nice wide stance. I've heard some say your stance could be as wide as your wrists. I don't get there, but that's what some say. So we're coming down and we're going to walk out. Now my feet are flat on the floor. My toes are out, so my heels are in. Not a whole lot, but a comfortable set, okay? I feel good here. And I'm going to walk out and keeping my baby toes on the mat. And when my baby toes start to pick up off the mat, I want to stop there. So I've got a nice wide-legged inversion. And we're going to walk back. If you had a chair, why don't you grab it and bring it on over to the other side if that's convenient, okay? So we're coming up from our wide-legged forward fold, and we're going to turn that front foot, which is now our left foot, and the back foot is turning just a little bit. And we forgot to do revolving our triangle, so let's do it on this side anyway. We're going to bring our arm around, and we're going to rotate. This is Parvrita. That means revolved. Parvrita Trikonasana, revolved triangle. There will not be a test on these Sanskrit words. And we come forward into warrior one. Front knee is bent. Position the feet in any way that it feels really good to you. extended side angle. I hope you're enjoying these because these are really, really good, especially if you do try to hold them 30 seconds each. There's a type of yoga called yin where you hold poses, and a lot can happen. A lot of good stuff can happen because your muscles start to get into deeper layers as you're holding poses. So our class is getting near the end. Looks like we got about 5 more minutes, enough to finish this pose up. Okay, we're going to go to half moon. I got the chair here, and I've got my strong standing leg. I know that's my stronger leg. I'm trying to, oops, I'm supposed to laugh through that. Ha ha ha. It's a nice straight leg. And trying to bring that other leg up. There it is, almost. Okay. It's no competition, is it? I'm still practicing, for sure. Okay. There's my half moon. We're going to come back to triangle. Hip goes out. Here's our triangle for you. It actually is nice to see yourself in the video, just to see how your alignment is, and you have to have an idea of what the pose is supposed to look like too. And I'm a little lower than I like to be in that triangle. I can really feel it in my back. Triangle to warrior two. We're checking ourselves out, looking over to the left. That front knee, got to make sure that thing goes back. Shoulders are relaxed, looking out to the right as well as to the left. And I see I'm a little bit reaching, so I need to straighten up a little bit and fly right. I've been told that a number of times in my life, haven't you? And actually not that long ago. And then we bring our hands to our hips, turn our toes forward, come back to our mountain pose, Tadasana feet. And because we didn't start that second round this way, we're going to do it now because we had our left arm up. Now we got our right arm up, right arm up, left arm down. We're looking down. And bringing our hands together at our heart center. Got me breathing on that one. So if you'd like more details on that, I'd be glad to share them with you. Better than that, I would suggest you get the book. It's a thick book called Moving into Stillness, Erich Schiffman. Schiffman, I think it is. It's really quite a story because he started doing yoga in his late teens and wound up in England. It's really quite an adventure that he went on. So I hope that was good for you. It was good for me. And if you do a flow like that, or you do like the 7 steps to willpower, or do some sun salutes on a regular basis, and I have to admit, I am not as regular as I have been in the past, as far as that goes. Very regular in some other areas, but we won't go into that. It'll keep your body happy. The joints, as we age, tend to dry up a little bit, and that movement is really good for them and encourages more, just a lot more lubrication. So whether you're joining me seated to close the class, or if you're laying down, I hope you're laying down and going to have a nice little shavasana. Let me just say thank you for joining. Hope you liked the class tonight. I honor you for taking this time for yourself, time to get a good strengthening, stretching, lengthening. It is strengthening too. And just something for you, and hopefully you'll get some shavasana rest out of it too. So when you come to this class, I hope that you plan on closing it with laying down, maybe your legs up on the couch or a chair, or maybe you're doing legs up the wall. Put something over your eyes and just get some rest. And just know that eventually we are going to be back in the yoga studio in Kingston Springs. And I look forward to seeing all of you. I know it's going to be different, but I think it's going to be better. It's what I'm hoping for. As I have looked in each of your eyes, each of you, both sets of eyes, I see a divine spirit, and I see that spirit is also in me. And when I recognize that, and you recognize that, we get connected. So let's honor that by mentally, spiritually greeting each other and honoring each other with namaste. Have a good time, whatever you're doing. And remember, everything is yoga. Thanks so much for joining. Namaste.